Happy Sunday. Yesterday, I got to sit with my friend Katora, founder of God Be Big, at her Dear Younger Me brunch. And we just had a live conversation amongst the group, talking about the journey through different phases of relationships, and what my experience has been like, things that I have learned from the journey about myself, about relationships in general, and really how I've been able to see God in the midst of all of it. And it was an amazing time. The whole event was beautiful. And then the conversation was very powerful as well. I think for me, it was nice to be able to share more publicly some of the things that I have been able to glean from the difficulties of life and my experience. But even more than sharing my personal story, it was being able to point back to how God really shows up in especially those hard seasons of life. And so I wanted to just share what the event was and what it's meant for me to be able to participate in a conversation like that amongst the group. But also I wanted to share a little bit of reaction, or like a peek, quote unquote, behind the scenes of what life looks like for me in those like moments. So going into it, it was something that I was very excited about, right? Like it essentially is sharing my world, my life, and my experiences with others, which I'm happy to do. But there's always that like concern of judgment, to be honest. And then for myself, I know I consider myself to be a recovering perfectionist. So I also deal with wanting to be very intentional about what it is that I share and how I share it. Because I'm very intentional about my word choice, the order of the way I'm sharing things, and all of that. So those are the things that were heavy on my mind going into the event. And so of course it makes me nervous going in. And then also I'm very much an introvert, so speaking in front of large groups of people is not my jam. So yeah, just I was excited, but also really nervous. But then, of course, I get there and I see Katora, and she just has such a calming energy, pure excitement, and it was beautiful. And the group of women that she brought together, everyone was very loving and supportive. So it made it easier to feel comfortable. But it wasn't until I sat at the table for brunch, and I just happened to sit next to this very beautiful woman, Shanika. And I'm sure she could read my energy in that. I was really nervous. And of course, for me, I had prepared my notes, and I'm like reading and reading and reading over my notes, because I'm like, well, I don't know, am I gonna bring my laptop? Am I gonna be trying to remember everything that I want to say? I was trying to figure it out. And she prayed with me. She spoke life into me. She spoke peace over me, and reminded me that God is a good father, and he will take care of me. And as long as I remember that, I really only want to share what he tells me to share. My notes don't even matter. So that was very significant for me, because for me, again, as a recovering perfectionist, the notes are like a safety blanket to be able to stay focused in a space where I'm generally uncomfortable in front of people talking. But again, it's a reminder of how we give ourselves, we surrender ourselves to allow for God to experience the full glory out of using our lives. Because again, anything that I do in that capacity, it's literally not a testament of Darcella, because if you could only see what Darcella looks like before those moments start, you would understand that it is only by the grace of God that I am able to share anything that makes sense. So yeah, I just wanted to share some of that, like behind the scenes, what you didn't see yesterday if you were at the event. And then also to talk a little bit more about the experience of being an introvert and doing those types of things. When I say that I'm an introvert, it's not that I limit myself or restrict myself to that as an identity, but I think it does explain pieces of my personality, and that socialization and being in public spaces like that is not one of the things that gives me energy. It is actually one of the things that depletes my energy. And it's okay. I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to be in those spaces, but I know that I need to be still enough in advance and have space to decompress after, in order to make sure my cup doesn't go empty. I need to know my limits, right? And so the week leading up to the event, Katora invited us to fast and pray to prepare for the event. And it was beautiful because I ended up taking the whole week to prioritize stillness. And it just makes a huge impact, for me at least. And then afterward, that's where I ran into some issues, because afterward, I'm still a mom to a very extroverted 6-year-old. And just because of the dynamics of all the things that I had scheduled this past week, we didn't have a whole lot of time to have quality time together. So typically on a Saturday, she would spend the day and have a sleepover with her grandparents. But because we didn't have a lot of quality time this past week, she said that she wanted to see me after the event as well, so that we could spend some time together, which is beautiful and I love it. But after an event like that, after a week like we had, I recognize I'm low on energy. And I know for me to recover, that means stillness, that means pausing. But she doesn't appreciate that as much because she's only 6, which is fair. And so we spend some time together, but it was a little bit combative because she wanted to do more fun and exciting activities, where I'm like, bro, can we just sit? You just want to hang out at home. And I'm grateful for her because she agreed to be still and to relax for a little bit. And then the deal was, today we'll do fun things. So that's what my day today looks like. But she eventually did go for her sleepover Saturday, and the rest of my night was just hanging out at home, laying on the couch, which is nice. I do enjoy going outside and doing different things and all of that, but it's also necessary to be still. And so this morning, on top of all of the things there that I wanted to share, I wanted to revisit my little spring summer series from last year of Selah Sundays, where we are intentional about slowing down and reflecting and having time to decompress from life, but also making space to do it with intentionality amongst community. So what was it? See, this is why I have my notes, right? Because I don't remember. But last week in church, we talked about stillness being a key to hearing from God. And it was, oh my gosh, I'm not going to remember it off the top of my head, but it's solitude. I think it's silence and solitude. I'll double check my notes and I'll share. But solitude is beautiful because it doesn't mean that you're isolating. It doesn't mean that you're entirely by yourself. It means that you're just intentional about that, what that community around you looks like. So that's what we're gonna do with Selah Sundays this year. And I already have so many things that I am reflecting on and praying about and look forward to sharing with anyone interested in walking that journey out with me. But so far it is a very beautiful day. The sun is shining. It's not really windy, not like yesterday, but it's a beautiful day. Any day is a beautiful day, actually. But I especially am appreciating the sun. And I hope that you guys are as well. Bye.